Hey everybody, it's Justin from Saage Scents. Today I have 12 fragrances for you that out of the, I don't even know how many, 150 clones or so that I own, these are like the best cheap clone fragrances. All of these you can get for less than $30, some of them less than $20, and every one of them is of exceptional quality, either because they're so close to what they're cloning, or just because the actual quality of the fragrance is just off the charts. So these are steals. These are some that you sort of spray and you think, I cannot believe what I got for what I paid. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this, but as we do, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done that. Go ahead and give the video a like if you get something out of it, and let me know down in the comments, have you tried any of these? What do you think of them? Or what is another clone that you got that you think, how in the world do they sell this for that price? All right, here we go. So first up, I'm going to go with one. There's, it's probably about a third freshies, maybe a little more. The rest of them are going to be more fall, winter scents, but this one is definitely, to me, a summer fragrance, maybe even spring. This is Porto Naroli by Maison Hamra, a branch of Lattafa. And of course, this is a clone of Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. This is a beautiful fragrance. It gets incredibly close to the Tom Ford. Of course, there's often going to be a difference in quality between one of these Maison Hamra and the Tom Ford, but the fragrance profile is so spot on, and I got this on Amazon for less than $25. What you're going to get with this one, obviously neroli, you've got citrus, but the way that it comes across is sort of an aquatic, somewhat like suntan oil kind of vibe. Neroli can kind of give that sense, and then you've got some citrus. To me, it smells like a summer afternoon at the pool. It's very refreshing, it's bright, and it has that, what we would sometimes call like a solar note kind of a vibe. Similarities to other fragrances like Juliet Has a Gun, the vanilla vibes, or there's a, I think Amouage has Copacabana, or no, maybe that's the clone, but there's several fragrances that are sort of in that realm that this one's going to remind you of. Incredible value, and get it while you can, because I think this whole line is being delisted. All right, next up, we're going to go with one. This one is a new pickup for me, and I got this on Amazon for $22 with shipping. I just don't understand it, because this is an excellent clone of Invictus Victory. This is again from Maison Hamra, Victorioso Victory. It says Nero on the bottle, but the actual listing called it Victorioso Victory. So maybe Nero is the name. I don't know. It's funny, the naming conventions with some of these clones. But what you're going to get with this one, off the top, you've got some pink pepper and some lemon. That does give it a little bit of a freshness, a little bit of a zinginess off the top, but then it goes into some darker notes. You don't get a whole lot of the notes listed, but what they list is it's got olibanum, which gives something that will it's frankincense basically, but it gives it a little bit of a leathery vibe. You've got a touch of lavender that you discern a little bit, but it's, you know, gonna be in the same family as sort of the fuzziness from that pink pepper. But then you've got vanilla, tonka bean, and amber in the base. And although this one doesn't have coffee, it doesn't have leather, it's going to remind you probably, especially the freshness in the opening, then that rich darkness, it's going to remind you of something like Halloween Man X or Ferragamo Uomo Signature. It's kind of right in between those two somehow. If you've smelled it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And again, for $22, this is a fantastic fragrance. You got some freshness in the opening and then some sweet, dark spiciness. It's a great pickup. You'll see a lot from Lattafa in this video. They somehow release some of these clones, amazing value at amazing prices. Maison Hamra is Lattafa. Here's just straight Lattafa. This is Lattafa Assad. Another one I got for $22. Check fragrancebuy.ca, or often even Amazon will have it that cheap. And this is, of course, a clone of Dior Sauvage Elixir. It is kind of, it's an aromatic fougere, lots of spice and lots of aromatic kind of herbal spiciness but you've got some cinnamon, you've got some licorice, you've got some vanilla in the base. So you've got some rich, sweet spiciness, but you've also got a little bit of that classic aromatic fougere. Think something like Drakkar Noir with some of those interesting notes like licorice and vanilla and cinnamon to give it a much more modern vibe, a more sweet vibe. So again, Lattafa Assad, Dior Sauvage Elixir, very close for the price, and it's about a 7-hour plus performer on me, so I definitely can't complain with that. Okay, another one by Lattafa. This is a Maison Hamra. This is kind of a year-round fragrance, but I think, you know, spring, fall-ish, I don't know, you can wear it whenever you want. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Bitter Peach. This is Bright Peach. And so this one is basically, it's peach with some powderiness. It's got a touch of rum, I believe it is, just a touch, not quite as much as the Tom Ford has, but it's going to remind you of sort of a powdery peach fragrance with a little bit of like a sweet, like lactonic kind of note in the base. It's unisex, probably leaning feminine. I haven't worn it as much as I thought that I would, but I still think it's unique. I still enjoy it. Bright peach, fantastic quality. And from what I remember, a little more peach than the actual Tom Ford has, but still pretty close. Okay, next up, we're going to go with a Paris Corner fragrance, and this one, FragranceBuy.ca has this one for, I think it's $26, right around there, maybe it was $27, but less than $30, and this is a fabulous clone of Kilian's Intoxicated. I tried Kilian's Intoxicated earlier this year. I wore it, and just immediately whenever I put it on, I was thinking, this reminds me so much of something. What is it? And then I thought, oh, it's Mugler's Amen. And sure enough, I looked at Fragrantica, and that's what everyone compares it to for good reason. And I'll say more about that. But this is Emir, You're Drugged by Paris Corner. You know, Intoxicated, You're Drugged. And this one is very interesting. They don't give you a lot of notes, again, with the Kilian's or the Paris Corner. They give you coffee. They give you some sort of a spice in their fragrance description, cardamom, cinnamon. So they don't give you much to go on, and nutmeg. But again, if you've smelled Mugler's Amen, this one to me is a coffee-forward Mugler's Amen. It's also got a little bit more of a gourmand feel than Mugler's Amen. To me, Mugler's Amen is like, it's aromatic, sweet spiciness to the extreme. This one's a very similar fragrance profile with a little more of the coffee and something that's almost caramely kind of mixed in there. It's not for everybody, but if you like that kind of intense fragrance, it smells just like a Turkish coffee, then you'll love this. I love Turkish coffee, and this one is like you get to wear that fragrance all day. All right, next up, from Lattafa, this is another super cheapie that blew me away. This is a clone of Nishan's Annie. This is Lattafa Nashit. You know, Nishan, Nashit, you can kind of see what they're going for there. This one is a great clone of Ani. The performance has changed dramatically as I've had this now maybe 6 or 9 months, something like that, maybe close to a year. Whenever I first got it, after 3-4 hours, I couldn't smell it. I don't know if it's a difference in my nose or if it's dramatically improved over time, but this is now like a 7-8 hour fragrance on me. It's a good performer, and if you're not familiar with Ani, it's lemon vanilla in the opening. Something's going to remind you of like lemon meringue pie, and then it goes into a spicy vanilla, some ginger that is absolutely beautiful, kind of a sparkly ginger mixing with that vanilla. Thing that impressed me with this one is it develops almost exactly like the $200 to $300 Nishan fragrance. Great pickup right here by Lattafa. Okay, next, this one is super cheapy. I got it for like $5.50. You can get it on Amazon for about $8 or $9. This is Parfums Belcam, who does a lot of super cheapies. This one is phenomenal. It's a clone of either the new Y or YEDP. It smells to me more like YEDP. This is Classic Match. It's just called Classic Match Y, I believe. That's not written on the front, but that's what was on the box. Classic Match Y. And this one smells so very similar. They nailed it. I don't know how they do it for so cheap, but that apple, that sweet fruity opening, and then it goes down into that ambroxan, that drier kind of aromatic base. You've got several aromatic notes, which I'm blanking on right now. You've got a sage that's beautiful. You've got juniper berries. It's all here. It's crazy. There's even a texture about YEDP that the other clones I have don't quite get, but this one for less than $10 nails it. But keep in mind, this is like, you know, a 5 or 6 hour fragrance, where YEDP is probably more like a 10 or 12 hour fragrance. Okay, next up, we're going to go with one, and I'm going to speed up a little. I don't want this video to be too long. This one is Sapil Bound, and it's a clone of Armani Code Profumo. And that one was sort of known for this sort of fizzy cola opening, and then it goes into that tonka sweet base, and this one retains a lot of fruitiness from the opening. This one, I will say, the opening is way more synthetic than Profumo. It's much more of like a candied, very artificial smelling sweetness, but once that settles down, you get that Code Profumo DNA almost to a T. There's something a little dark, almost leathery to it. There's, of course, that tonka bean and some of that fruitiness and sort of sparkly nature from the opening that lasts pretty much all the way through. It's a great performer, easily 8 to 10 hours, Sapil Bound, and you can get this one for less than $20 all over the internet. Fantastic pickup. This next one would only fit in this video the last few months. I've seen this consistently on Fragrance Buy for less than $30. This is one of the best clones that I own, period. It's a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton. You know the one. Al Haramain Detour Noir. One of the ugliest bottles I own. Poor quality, the whole thing. The presentation is garbage. But the fragrance is so very close to Layton. It is gorgeous. Spicy, apple, vanilla. There's some complexity, some fuzzy texture, a little bit of darkness. It's an epic clone. I can't believe that it is now consistently under $30. This is a must-own as far as I'm concerned. Al Haramain Detour Noir. Okay, just a few more. Next up, one that on Amazon here in the US you can get for the low $20 now, consistently, 25 or less. I've seen it at $21, $22. This is a great clone of Roja Parfums Elysium. This is Imperium by Fragrance World. And so that bright citrus blackcurrant opening, and then that sort of fuzzy ambroxan and vetiver combo that you get in the base. A grassy vetiver with some sweet fruitiness. It's a gorgeous fragrance with a pronounced woody grassy vetiver. Imperium by Fragrance World. And I'm telling you, I get 7 hours easy out of this fragrance. You know, I think it is strengthened certainly over time. Some people complain about performance. I get it, but I'm just telling you the truth of my experience. I get pretty good performance out of that one. All right, this next one. This is a clone by Parfums Belcam. This would be my top ultra cheapy blue fragrance recommendation. It's actually a clone of Acqua di Gio Profondo, but it's not a perfect clone of Profondo, but it's a killer blue fragrance. I'm talking about Gio Blue by Parfums Belcam. It's basically Acqua di Gio Profumo without the mineral note. They missed that in this clone, but if you want a sweet aromatic blue fragrance that everybody loves the smell of, it doesn't smell overly cheap or synthetic, and it's a good performer. Again, about a 6-7 hour fragrance on me. $8 on Amazon. This is one of my top recommendations in the video, Gio Blue by Parfums Belcam. Now number 12, the final one in the video. This video has been full of bangers, and this one belongs right at the top of the list. This is a clone of my favorite Tom Ford fragrance to date, Tobacco Vanille. This is Tobacco Touch by Maison Alhambra. There are some differences with the Tom Ford, but I love this fragrance. This is a powerful, spicy vanilla tobacco fragrance. There's a touch of something that to me reminds me a little bit of booziness, like maybe some dark, booze, rum or whiskey or something like that. But then it's got like cinnamon and pepper and nutmeg and clove and these sort of sweet, spicy fragrances with that tobacco and a very rich vanilla. This is a dark fragrance. It's sweet, spicy, and it's like a 12-hour fragrance on my skin. I'm telling you, it is strong and long-lasting. Awesome pickup, Tobacco Touch by Maison Alhambra. So that's been 12. Every one of these less than $30, some of them way less. These are great clones and great pickups, but what would you add to the list down in the comments? Please consider clicking that like button and join the family if you haven't. Go ahead and click subscribe. I've got videos coming out every couple days. I'm Justin. This has been Saage Scents. Thanks for watching.